You've seen one New York data set. Adding a map makes it all easier to understand what's going on. It gives an awful lot of context. It's a big thing everyone wants now. So let's put in with geography dimension. Alright lads and lasses, welcome along. Weekend work. We've done a lot already, haven't we? And we've started to talk about a geography dimension. We did that last week when we were looking at the data from transparency.org. Okay. Being able to build a geography dimension, a list of countries, is vital. Okay. You will use it so much in everything you do. I've done stuff in the past where we've looked and we've mapped offices and business locations to coordinates. That can then be upscaled into country information quite easily. And if you start to then build a standard for your countries, so using ISO 3 codes, which are the international standard for them, for where your office is, you suddenly find you can then amalgamate up into, this is our activity in the UK, in China, in the US, in Canada, India, wherever it is you're based. So getting that right is key. Now, I've always said you've got to have a data core. In your Power BI environment, you have to have that data core. So let's put what countries in so we can then map, and we'd be able to map the transparency data and anything else that we're going to add in the future. All right, so here we are. Yeah, this is IBAN.com. It's one of the places that's got the ISO 3 codes, 4 places, yeah? It's ISO 3166. That's what it is, yeah, right? Which is the standard, which is the 3-letter country code. So Britain's GBR, for example, I can see some others down here. If you start to use that as your way of linking information together and classifying and categorizing, then you can start to bolt together standardized components. It becomes much simpler as you start to do that and piece that together. And if up front, because a lot of what we're talking about at the moment is about upfront. We're just starting, we're moving into Power BI now as a business. How can we really future-proof what we're doing? How can I make sure I don't suddenly get to the point where it's like just become this absolute nightmare and it's ruining my life? This is one of those examples. Think about it ahead of time. Adding that column, making sure everything ties to an ISO 3 code. Right? So ISO 3166 code for country information just makes all the difference. If you're putting anything out there, tie it to an ISO code and then bring back and use the country name from your geography table. So that, again, you've got standards. Potentially we could build on this and actually add in region information or something else. We might have, these are our business regions. The key thing is this all comes back to it's based around starting to build standards. Okay, so standards. So let's pull this in. So the nicest thing to do would be bring this all in to a data flow. Okay, one of the issues you get with data flow is whether you want to use this one or the Wikipedia one, right, is data flows tend not to really like bringing in web stuff. So let's try this one, yeah? So I'm just going to copy the link. Right, it's easy enough to do that, isn't it? Yeah, so copy the link, go to the Power BI homepage. We're going to go into a data core, which I've nicely renamed so it maps with where data flow workspace is. Right, we can choose to come in here, edit this one. We can see we've got the data flows that we've had before, and we're going to add an entity. So click add entity, and this is where the problems will start for you. Right, there isn't really a good web 1 in the web. Strange as that might seem. So that it comes to the right place. Web page and web API. If we click web page, it wants an on-premise data connector, right? Which we're not going to put in. So what's the best way to fix this, right? The easiest thing to do is look for a CSV version of it. I mean, this is a standard ISO piece of information. Quick look, and I found one, right, in GitHub, this Luke's guy, right? Don't know who they are, right? Pretty good, nice of them, right? Again, if you don't know your sources, validate, It's not a huge deal with it, with something like the ISO 3166 codes. After all, I mean, you're only looking at 280 data or lines of data. You can validate that pretty quickly. You could copy and paste this into Excel and copy and paste the one from Wikipedia and see if the two lined up. And if they didn't, then you could find another source. This is fine though, yeah? And GitHub is really easy to connect to Power BI, especially if it's a CSV file. Because all we need to do is hit raw, right? And then we've got a nice URL at the top. So if we copy this, right, so I'll right click on it and copy, come back to me data flow, and then here we're going to add an entity, and this is going to be text or CSV. We're going to paste that in, and we're going to leave the rest. Don't need an on-premise data gateway, do we? Because we're connecting to a CSV on the web, and it's anonymous, okay? This is the best kind of data core. We're going to, as much as possible, try and keep it anonymous, right, with anonymized data sources. The reason for it isn't because I don't want to do it, but it's because if you're moving forward with your business and different data sets and different data types, you don't want to necessarily be pulling stuff from one system into another system, and you need to be thinking about that. So it's almost a conscious step that we're going to make sure this is anonymous. Right? And again, that would then help me to say, I'm happy to share this with anybody in the business. There's no secret here, is what you want to be getting to, yeah? So we've got this. Here we go. Right? And we can see here, this is not too bad. So we're going to hit transform the data, because of course we want to edit it. We're going to change the name, countries. We've got our data built now. All we need to do is say, right, what don't we need? So we can pick these and remove those, yeah? We're going to remove all these columns, okay? What you might want to do is build your own region, sub-region, however it is you break down your sales, manufacturing departments and geographies within your business. You can split that up. You could use an extract of this into Excel, fix it and bring it back in. It's the sort of thing that probably isn't going to change very much. So what you might well find is, once I've done this once, we're good to go, man. So I'm going to remove these columns. Likewise, these ISO 3 codes, I don't think they're going to change very much. So what I might do is decide that we want to manage this a little bit better. Yeah. And we could do that by having this country list in its own separate workflow that wasn't refreshed automatically, right? Because we've got the CPI scores in here, which refresh annually, it's not going to be worth me automatically refreshing this data set anyway. So we'll leave it as is, but it's the sort of thing that you want to consider. So what do you reckon? Geography and building a geography dimension is key, okay? Starting to piece this together, this data core is getting there now, isn't it? So we've got our calendar information, so a date dimension. We've got a time dimension. We've now got a geography dimension. There's a lot there. There's been a lot to take in. Like and subscribe down below. Didn't forget to head on out to the website. Become a member. There's always more videos, more content going on there. There'll be more discussions happening there. And yeah, have a great weekend. Ta-da.